Hello and welcome to Chapter 182 of the DC Alliance podcast. With me, as always, is Joe. Joe, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing very bright while you're very dark. No, I'm doing pretty good. It's
You're the good and I'm the
yeah,
bad, the
I'm
yin
the
and the
light side
yang
apparently.
today.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, I'm doing good. Had the week off. Obviously we weren't on here last week. I had my birthday the week before, and so my girlfriend took me to Vegas for a birthday celebration. That was a lot of fun. Um, saw a bunch of great shows. Did some gambling. She broke even. Actually,
Nice.
got a little bit over even. I lost $400, but it's whatever. Uh, but it was fun. I had a really good time. Saw like I said, saw a bunch of great shows. Had just a blast. Um, but no, all in all, I'm happy to be back. I still haven't. My body apparently hasn't adjusted to everything because I'm freaking tired after working today. But other than that, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well, Joe. It's been a little while, obviously, since we went live, but we did do the Superman and Lois episode to catch people up in the meantime.
Yep.
I've been enjoying some family time. That and work is taking up a lot of my time. I'm excited for San Diego Comic Con. A lot of animation news, so I might
Yeah.
do a special episode because we got some Rick and Morty news thrown in there. I might talk some events. Well, obviously you're going to cover it, but still, I might talk about it in the news portion of a little special episode. I'm really interested to hear. Maybe we might get a trailer for that. I don't know, but I doubt it because it's still, I think, a ways away. And you know what Amazon is like? They're kind of like Netflix for the same thing. It takes a while to get any sort of thing. So
I mean, it's supposed to be this year.
yes.
Invincible, they announced it last year that it was, or beginning of this year. I can't remember
It
when.
could have got pushed
That
too,
it's
though.
supposed to, but it's already done. That's the thing. Like, it's just a matter of them releasing it.
Ooh.
Now, it
Eh,
could be the very end of December. I don't know. We'll figure it out when they talk about it over San Diego Comic Con.
and we have Rick and Morty news. Obviously, I would love to hear the new voice for Rick and Morty. Like,
Same. I'm wondering if
uh,
it's they're gonna do what they did before and how that whoever the new person is gonna voice literally every character, or if they're gonna try and get round out the cast and have more people.
I'm really interested to see how they're going to do that as well. Also, want to know if they're going to do in story. I know the other show he was on, that they replaced him as. They had the character get like shot in the neck, and then they made the in story that he would sound
Really?
different. Yes,
Have new episodes aired for
I
solo
yeah,
episodes?
I think so. I think so. Thinking of, I know I saw it like on like a news thing where it was showing like who could possibly be like who could be the new voices for Rick and Morty and what they could do, and that
Gotcha.
was one of the examples that they're showing that they did that in story, saying like, "Oh, you got shot in
Well,
the neck." I don't
because
know if I don't know if it was the exact show you're saying. Could have been another show where he voiced.
I say if it's
But
one on Hulu where he's an alien.
I feel like that's what it was. I did.
Yeah.
I saw it. I literally saw him get
Now
shot.
that one they get attacked and mutilated constantly, so they could
Yeah.
have just easily taken that clip from anywhere. But that actually would make sense. Like I in story canon for that movie, that show, I'd be down with it.
Yes, but obviously we haven't had a lot of news DC wise, but we have had a new show uh, that we're going to talk about. Just give our quick review in that. Before we do all that stuff, I have to get the network plugs out of the way. Of course, we are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance with 8 shows in total. On Mondays is Ranger Alliance, and that rotates bi-weekly with Slice of Film. On Tuesdays is DC Alliance. On Wednesdays is the Animation Nation. On Thursdays is Star Wars Alliance. On Fridays is Marvel Alliance. On Saturdays, bi-weekly is a walk through the multiverse, and Sundays monthly is World's Finest True Believers. DC Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Star Wars Alliance goes live Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and Marvel Alliance goes live Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. All three of those shows also have their own podcast feed. Search Marvel Alliance, DC Alliance, or Star Wars Alliance if you just want Marvel content, DC content, or Star Wars content only. But if you want all 8 shows on the G-Way Podcast Network, stay subscribed to the G-Way on your podcast app of choice. We also have a Patreon, 2 tiers, a dollar tier, and a $5 tier. The dollar tier is basically a tip jar. You like what we're doing, and you want to help us out any way you can. And the $5 tier is where you get your extras. Get your ad-free episodes, early access to episodes, and Patreon exclusive episodes. Myself and Joe go through the DC films through the year. It's the one on deck for this month is Batman and Robin. I'm excited to dive back into that. It's been quite a while. Since I've seen that, we also have Chris and Brent, the Marvel Alliance guys, doing their Infinity Saga rewatch. So stick with them as they covered the Infinity Saga. We have Clay going to shows for the first time, Katie going through Star Wars comics with her husband, and Joel's Multiverse Minutes. We thank everyone that's a patron, but if you're not a patron, if you take a quick 30 to 60 seconds to rate and review the podcast on your podcast app of choice, it's always greatly appreciated. It helps other people find the shows, and that's always a good thing. Okay, Joe, that's all of that goodness done. We have a new show, a new Superman show to talk about. Uh, My Adventures with Superman.
Mhm.
So we're gonna it's goes back and forth. We're gonna talk about we're gonna get more in depth in the episodes, but Joe, I want to know your overall thoughts on the show after watching 2 episodes.
So this is a show that I'll be honest, I kept forgetting it was happening. Um,
Maybe the 11-second teaser things they dropped beforehand. Maybe that wasn't enough to encapsulate you.
no, well, I'm just not on.
I'm
I know,
forgotten as well, Joe, but I do remember 11-second clip they dropped at some point, and I was like, it was like coming this summer. I'm like,
like, and
you
I remember
couldn't,
that. I remember watching. I'm like, oh, this looks fun. I'll have to check it out, and then forgot. And yeah,
yeah.
you're right. So yeah, maybe they didn't tease it enough. But because it's on Adult Swim, I don't have cable anyway, so I
hmm
can't watch it until the next day on Max. Um, totally forgot it was happening. It was shared in the group chat by Chris, I believe. And I'm like, I was at the airport on the way back home. I'm like, oh yeah, I can watch that, and I did. And I'm not saying I had low expectations, but I really enjoyed what I watched. The bad thing is I don't know if I'm gonna be like it didn't draw me in enough to be like I gotta watch this all the time. I'm too busy for that. I've got other
hmm
things going on, so it's gonna be I'll catch it when I can catch it kind of thing. Unless of course we're gonna be covering it here and then I'll watch it for the show. But I did enjoy what I watched.
hmm
Um, it was discussed in said group chat that this has more of an anime esque style, which is probably why I enjoyed it as much as I did.
Which makes sense, and I gotta say, I enjoyed it. I could see where some people kind of lean like it was more intended for a younger audience, but I will also say, being on Adult Swim, I don't know if that qualifies as going for a younger audience.
I mean, they have
Uh,
anime on Adult Swim
yeah,
anymore, so and most anime is definitely not for the younger audience. It's definitely
no,
teen and up.
teen it up, which is what I
Um,
think this show is for as well.
well, and I think that because it's on Adult Swim and because of the characters of who they are, the show's I'm not gonna say gonna get darker. It's gonna get more serious
Yes,
as it progresses. So like
yes,
right
which
now, these first 2 episodes, there was a serious story going on, but you're getting introduced to everybody, so the comedy elements are weaved in and out, like Jimmy Olsen being a conspiracy nut and Lois just disregarding everything Perry says. Um, so like those worked well together, and I really
yeah.
did enjoy it. But I also understand that as the show progresses, it's gonna get more serious.
Yeah, and that's what I wonder, because I did see a lot of people saying, like, watching with my kids, watching with my young kids. I even showed you guys a clip on G-Way. I watched it with Oliver. He was just completely staring at it as I was watching on my iPad
I
and
mean,
did not
bright
break
colors.
from it. And yeah, obviously the bright colors there. I think is actually when Superman turned blue too.
Oh,
So
the Sailor Moon transformation. Yeah,
yeah, so I wonder how long more you can do that. I'm just curious, like what their intended audience is for this show, or is it for all ages type thing? That just makes me my curiosity. Where it's on Adult Swim, that's where it's coming to first. That was just my thought. Not from anything in the 2 episodes that we saw. I thought that it was like I didn't think it was. I thought it was more of an all ages thing. Uh, and Wobbly Boot says, "Yep, totally forgot about this show, and my 6-year-old loved the anime I watch." And Al in the games asked how many episodes in the season. We were just looking at this just before we
yeah,
started.
we're
There's only
discussing it.
6 episodes in the season, including the first 2 that we're going to talk about right now. Or that's all that is showing there. Maybe there is more.
It could be like a 10 episode slot. Who knows?
Yeah, because I thought I saw people say like I watched the first 8 episodes, or maybe I'm not
It's
sure.
on Adult Swim. Like
It's
they air
on
it
Adult
on
Swim.
Adult Swim
Yeah.
on game.
Yeah, because he asked what makes an Adult Swim show. So that's what, like, I don't know if like it's 100% like what adult, like Joe would probably know more what's on Adult Swim than me.
I used to. It's
You
changed.
only just recently got rid of cable, so
Yeah, but
I
I haven't had Cartoon Network for a couple years because the
yeah.
package that we had changed to where Cartoon Network was no longer on it. So yeah, I stopped watching Cartoon Network and Adult Swim years ago. So I know, when was it? I was at Comic Con, Indie Comic Con, a few months back, and had turned on Adult Swim, and they had. I want to no. The
I mean, like Robot.
American Dad was just before Adult Swim hit. But yeah, like Robot Chicken used to be on there. Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Yeah,
There was an anime on there, something about like a unicorn fighter. I can't remember which. It's on Max now, I'm pretty sure. It
yeah.
looked intriguing enough. It reminded me of Samurai Jack.
Ooh,
Samurai Jack used to be on in Adult Swim. So like
yeah.
it's definitely, I think Adult Swim anymore is more teen,
Teen and up.
yeah, definitely like teen young adult.
Yeah. So that's just a wonder for me because, like I said, nothing in these first 2 episodes made me think that, except like I did get the feeling like Joe got as well that it feels like the tone might get a bit more serious going forward. I'm really interested to see how this is going to go. But Joe, do you want to dive into some of this episode? Just
Yeah, let's go ahead.
what some of the things that you really liked in this episode, and anything that you disliked.
I definitely disliked the cool S thing that was Clark's Smallville emblem because it made me feel old.
Yeah,
They're trying to
and
make it cool again.
yeah, and the whole blue powers thing. We can hold that for
I didn't
a
mind
little
that.
bit.
So here's the big thing is that
I
this
thought it
is,
was cool to differentiate from Superman. Like it's not a full started out Superman. Although I hope we get some explanations from,
well,
like we get the language deciphered at the very least.
funny enough, this reminded me more of John Byrne's Superman run back in the 80s
Ooh.
because it had a similar element of Clark growing up thinking he's human just with these extraordinary powers, and then when he gets to a point in John Byrne's run, it was just before he graduated, he learned about his powers and where he came from. This is obviously he's in Metropolis, just revealed himself, and now he wants to learn about the past. So it that got me, that had similar vibes to the John Byrne's run from the 80s. And it follows that path of learning who he is, accepting who he is, and then going out into the world.
Hmm.
Uh, so that for me already is a big plus, a big positive in the, it's going in a good direction for Superman right now.
I got Smallville's 1 and 2 season vibes too, in that way. Of he didn't
Exactly.
find out, he thought he was just human. He wasn't sure what he was until he saw the spaceship, and like I really got some of those vibes some of the time while watching these first 2 episodes.
That's fair. That
Yeah,
works. I liked the introduction of Lois and him. Like he's going into the store and she's just walking by too, and he sees her and they both kind of have like a attraction. And then the little store owner is, oh honey, Clark's here. You gotta give him his bib, and he's gotta get all these donuts. Like it was just a fun.
I actually chuckled at that as well. I thought that was pretty cute how they met and then they re-meet
Yep.
shortly thereafter in Perry's office. I enjoyed that. I like Jimmy. I thought he was a little. I didn't really enjoy that they made him and Clark friends first before they met Lois.
I
I like
also
that element.
I Now they're making Jimmy out to be just like an aloof, and he just
Yeah,
never puts it together that Clark is this extraordinary person. He knows. He has to
he's
know.
good. He's gonna know by the end of the season, I think, at the very least. And you might have
Okay.
another season where Lois doesn't know, but I am interested to see how that goes. There, he's big into conspiracies. We got a lot of Easter eggs dropped.
I did love the fun thing where Superman's an alien. I said it right here on my Firebird channel, and it's all him, a little bit darker than what you are right now, saying, like,
You son of a gun! Like, Listeners,
He's more of a shadow than you
I
are.
if you're only listening to the podcast format, the video for me is a little bit darker. It's because I'm upstairs because my partner and our kid are gone visiting the in-laws. So I'm just chilling out upstairs and doing an upstairs recording, watching my dog. Didn't want my dog to be alone,
He does
essentially.
basically your lighting situation isn't as good as it should
And
be,
this is what
and
he
it's
does to
fine.
me. He's turned his back on his dad while he comes up with him. So
Yeah, he's not. It's fine.
betrayal.
It's fine. It's not as much as me just net jabbing at the like a hostage video. Thank God
Yeah.
we can't. And anyway, just there's a scene where he's having a YouTube video. He's like, Superman is. I know what he is. He's an alien. Case closed. And then Clark comes stumbling out and is like, "What's going on here?" And just whatever he fumbles into the camera. Like that was it. There's a lot of fun elements in here, which will draw the younger audience
Yeah.
and keep them entertained.
Yes,
Um,
and Joe, another thing I really enjoy is the flashbacks, flash forward. So we got two stories going on at once. I
yep,
do like they're telling two different stories. In the first episode was his power, second episode more so the ship. I did really enjoy the back and forth there with
I
that because they
assume,
tied it back in with the robots and the ship. They tied the two episodes with storytelling, but where he came from in the dead center to the end of the second episode where he gets his powers and has his
yeah,
suit. So I really enjoyed the full circle of that
yeah,
as
I
well.
assume that we're gonna get a beginning part like that, him and when he's younger each episode.
And I want to shout out, obviously, Scott McClellan, Scott at Scott DC 27 on Twitter, because he is a Superman in his own right for picking out all these Easter eggs. Now, I did listen
Ooh,
to the Superman fan made stream he does with Dave Film Junkie last night, where he talked about his thoughts. But he watched it a second time and he caught all these name drops. So I'm going to list them all quickly and see if you caught any or all of these. Vicky Vale, Amazo, Leslie Willis, Livewire, Simonson, New Kid Legion, Guardian, Jurgens, Hoodie Disguise, Earth One GN, Flamebird, Slade Wilson, Task Force X, and Amanda Waller. And he said if his powers feel like a homage to Kessel's Superman Blue.
okay.
So shout out to Scott for all those. I only caught a couple of those. I did
I
catch
think
the Guardian,
I didn't catch
uh,
the Guardian. I
the
mean,
Live Wire as well, because that was the name of the other girl that I
I
did catch
figured
that.
that out as soon as she got powers.
Yeah,
I figured out Slade, Deathstroke,
yeah.
literally just before he or just when he attacks Leslie at first. Um, I heard Jurgens. I saw Amazo.
Saw Waller
I
at
think,
the
well,
end.
obviously saw Waller. The
Yeah.
Amazo thing. I think I saw the Vicky Vale uh, clip. I feel like I
Well,
saw that one the first time.
Vicky Vale took her story. Vicky
No,
Vale, Cat Grant. I thought it was Vicky Vale,
no, it
Cat
was Cat
Grant,
Grant, um,
and the guy. I
Ron
thought it was.
Troop, and Steve
Oh,
Lombard.
my bad. Okay. So
Those and those.
where was the Vicky Vale then?
I believe it was in the first episode. I think it was a
Okay.
byline
Okay.
on like a newspaper. I think if I remember correctly, it
So I
was
had it right about
Lois's
byline on
wall.
newspaper, but it wasn't on the
Yeah,
one
I think it
the
was on
paper I'm
Lois's
thinking of.
wall.
Okay.
Trying to think. I think there was one other in that jumble that I didn't catch, but I did catch a majority of that, which is pretty awesome.
All the game says Jack Quaid from The Boys cleaning up on a bunch of voice work, Listo, Star Trek Lower Deck, and Batman The Long Halloween.
Who's the in
Yeah, and
Batman Long Halloween?
I think he's the main son person that gets killed.
Alfonso.
I think so. I'm not 100% on the game. Please come down with your man in the chair to say what voice he was, because it's been a while since I've watched that movie now. And myself and Snell did a review talking about that. But yeah, I really did enjoy. What do you think of the first, well, the big fight
Alberto.
scene we
Sorry,
got?
thank you all again.
Alberto, yeah.
Alberto Alfonso. They start with Al. What I think of what? I'm sorry.
I was right. What do you think about the first animated, first fight in the second episode with the robots? What do you think about that giant action? Because that was basically the crux of our action in the first two episodes, really.
That was interesting. Um, Yeah, no, it was fine. It definitely showed Superman like he's still learning his powers. He's not fully powered, or like the Superman that like this Superman right here on my shirt.
Hmm.
To where he is at like top of his game, knows exactly what he's doing. He's still learning. He's used his powers on a daily basis, but never to this extent.
No.
And so he's figuring out his limitations. And I think the only thing with the robots, so I also had watched this second time, and
Yeah.
I definitely got a very anime feel from it
Yeah.
because, and this may just be animation in general. Uh, Leslie Willis, she starts to open up a bunch of crates, and love.
Levels up. That phrase flashes forever ruined that for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
But she starts opening up a bunch of crates, but only four open up, even though there's like seven in a row. And then Lois goes to start turning them off, and she starts at the very end, and it turns off the first one. And then there's this like, she was in a row of seven, but then all of a sudden it's down to a row of four. I don't know. That's just
I saw.
I looked past that because of animation,
Well, I
but
did look past that, Joe, because it got more confusing to me because the robots were chasing her and shooting, and by the end, it looked like the one robot was sentient enough to blow up his container
right,
before she could shoot the button, and it felt like another one was trying to do that when she pressed the button. The second last one, the last one that got shut down, and I was just like, well, I'm a little confused here. So yeah, that confused me. I did enjoy the animation of it all. I liked that, and the Superman fighting the robots. I thought that was good. But where that stuff was concerned, I was a little confused. I love the tie-ins at the end too with Deathstroke and Waller and the whole Task Force X. Uh,
I
I'm
didn't recognize the other two. Um, so Clay and Chris and I had a discussion about this, and it sounded to me that they are not Task Force X. They are
no,
some other government agency trying to find out information about Task Force X and all these other things. You know, um, which is interesting because yeah, you had Slade, you had Waller. Had no
uh,
idea who the third guy is.
same. I had no
I'm
idea
sure
as
we'll
well.
figure out next episode.
Yeah.
But
So I will be checking this out. I'm not sure. Like, I'm with Joe. I'm not sure if I'm going to check this out weekly, but we
it will
will.
be a I'll watch it if I remember and I had time.
With Harley Quinn coming back in a
Which
few weeks,
yeah.
which I cover as well. I think that I will hold off on the.
The only
I may still watch a week. There's only 20 minutes, so
plus the bonus is only 6 episodes as of right now.
yeah.
That
So
we know.
we'll maybe we'll for sure talk about the series as a whole at the very end, or maybe who knows? I'll write Joe next Monday and see if he's already watched.
We'll see.
We'll see.
It may
So
just be you reminding
it's
me and I have to watch it that way.
yeah, it's interesting, and I'll be curious to see. Well, I do know that it's getting a second season that has been confirmed, so uh, thumbs up on that. That's already done as well. We'll take our first ad break of the evening. Listeners, we're an ad support network. We don't pick the ads or volume. I'm going to give you a quick three count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in three, two, one. And we're back. Okay, Joe. There's been a quite a bit of news since we've been away.
Thanks,
On
all
the game,
game.
I'll give our box office update for The Flash, as he usually does, which we're always thankful for. Pixar's Elemental, which had a historically poor opening, will likely end up outgrossing The Flash. The Flash is not doing well at all, and I'm really hopeful that the stench doesn't carry over to Blue Beetle.
You
Uh,
know, and I was listening to we brought up Scott earlier, Scott
yeah.
Shots over on the DC
Ooh,
Squadcast Patreon,
Patreon.
and he had on oh crap.
Stephen Colbert.
Yes, thank you. And they were talking about the Flash and what could have why it is underperforming like it is. And this question was brought up to us a few weeks back, and they brought up that it isn't just one thing. Like
No.
everybody thinks that they have the answer. Like this
Yeah.
is why it was bad. Like it wasn't just one thing. It was a multitude of things.
Combination of things, yes.
And I want to throw a little bit onto that. I think that people are being trained to just wait until it goes to streaming anymore. Like, not every movie, obviously, because the Marvel stuff, Top Gun Maverick, we've got Barbie coming up and Oppenheimer. Like, those are going to do great numbers.
And
Mission
Mission
Impossible
Impossible.
just came out, and that's going to be doing great. Like, yes, people are starting to become accustomed to just wait a month and then it's going to be on a streaming service that I have. So why should I spend all the money to go into theaters?
Financially as well, Joe. Yeah, like you said, but all the money, like inflation is still high.
But
It's
it's
still a
lowering,
crunch for
but it's still
people.
high.
Yeah,
Yes.
still high. So it's an expense to go to the movie
Yeah.
theater,
So
especially if you're buying popcorn and all that jazz. Which I
I mean,
don't
you
know if
have to
you.
buy popcorn. Yeah.
That's what I was just gonna say. I don't know how you're going if you don't buy popcorn. Myself,
I just,
I'll yeah, I'll get a
yeah.
large on way 8 for Allison. So
Perfect. Um, yeah, no, it's just, I, my girlfriend and I, we,
Game also said
yes, word of mouth
word of mouth.
seems to be more important than ever. 100%. But
Hmm.
even that, like, we've said it wasn't a terrible movie. Like, we actually still enjoyed it.
No, yeah.
I know Scott and Tim over at DC Squadcast, they enjoyed it. Like,
Scott
people
more than
enjoyed the
Tim,
movie, but
which
it's
is
not
usually the case.
our word of mouth that everybody's listening to. It's Rotten Tomatoes. It's all
Yeah.
of these other influencers who are like, "Oh, this is crap. It's whatever." But I was gonna go somewhere.
Well,
Whatever.
that
Throw it
came
back.
off of the All the Game, well, the Scott Shots episode about another
Yeah,
reason for the
I
underperformance.
forgot where I was gonna go with it. So it's fine.
But
Let's
yeah,
go on.
it's not as successful, but again, at least we got the film, and like myself and Joe said, we both enjoyed it. It's just it sucks that it's
Yeah.
not.
Which that's it. That's what, and I know we're gonna be talking about Blue Beetle here in a minute. I'm right there with you with what you said earlier. I'm now getting worried for Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
Like, I was
I'm
already sort of worried for Aquaman because I don't think it was gonna make the money that they were thinking. I'm definitely getting worried for Blue Beetle.
Yeah, and I like what Brent said. I think he said in the chat about the branding, the brand being damaged. I've talked to a few general audience people who honestly uh, hear DC and think bad. So I mean, I don't know how you can change that. Is it just have to be really really good films? But
Well, like the
uh,
Batman and the Joker were really
y-
good films, and those
yes,
have a positive spin to it. It's just when you go DCU, that's when people are like, ugh.
I don't even think
So I think
they just
taking
think
having the year off of
yeah.
DCU stuff will help, but I don't know if it's gonna help for the positive, if that makes sense.
I'm
Like, I don't
really
think it's gonna be
curious.
as big of a help as I think as it needs.
I'm really curious how that's going to go over the Blue Beetle, and I think we have a couple little Blue Beetle things to talk about here. But before we do that, Superman and Lois is currently second most popular show on HBO Max worldwide. That was as of July 7th.
Is Gotham Knight still number one?
I don't know that. I assume no.
I'm kidding. I'm
Nah.
kidding.
I don't know if they were. Were they?
They were, yeah.
Oh my god.
Remember months ago when that thing came out that was number one on HBO Max, and I had made that comment of like, yeah, it's not over here yet, and the guy was being a smartass. There's other countries that have HBO
Oh
Max.
yeah, that
And then
guy.
I
That
went off on him when we found out it was canceled live on the show.
yeah, that was
He got listening
hilarious.
to maybe.
Yes. So they also think that the show is going to return between January and March of 2024.
Okay.
That's the hopeful as long as these strikes don't carry on, of course.
I mean, we are literally prepping for a SAG strike.
I
Like,
know I'm Mr. Positive here, hoping that they can reach a deal. I doubt it. Obviously, you have to strike first, but uh, still, we'll cross our fingers about that. We
exactly.
can't afford maybe that's why they're holding back Doom Patrol, which we'll talk about in a second.
Oh, dude.
Uh, so, Joe, we got a new little look at DC's Blue Beetle. This is via a Moneymaker Mag. It looks really cool. I love the suit, and there's a little article there as well. Uh, cool little article. I love this costume. And there's a third picture release of Blue Beetle with a sword lighting up with lightning. What do you think about these first couple? And are you hopeful we get a trailer soon? Obviously, with DC Alliance's track record, we knew it wasn't going to drop today.
I mean, allegedly the trailer is supposed to come tomorrow.
And you're not going to drop it today anyway, smart, because of the picture that dropped earlier that everyone would be talking about all day. The
What
trailer would
picture
get
is that? I mean, it's not like it has been all over my feed.
it's awesome. It can be all on my
Oh yeah,
feed
no,
all
it's
day, every
fine.
day.
I'm
Tell
not
me good
complaining.
movie.
It's just like I already saw somebody posting a Homer in the bar and then the picture on everybody's face. Like, yeah, no, that tracks.
Yeah. And the final thing for Blue Beetle is the runtime is 2 hours and 7 minutes. What do you think about that little bit of news, Joe? Are you wishing it was longer, or are you
Oh
just
no, I'm
thinking,
fine with 2 hours. I'm
yeah,
finally at the point where two and a
just
half
tell a good
hours,
story.
three is just way too long.
I just hope it doesn't make me want uh, there to be extra time or less time. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
as long as the story is well told in those 2 hours,
I don't care. Like I said, I don't care if the story's 90 minutes, if it's well told. I watched a couple
it
of
has to
animated
be well
movies,
told though. That's the
Green
problem.
Lantern's First Flight, that was 70, 80 minutes long. They're fantastic films. So
Yeah.
I'm completely fine. I just need you to tell me a good story. That's what I'm hopeful there on that. Uh, do you think, like, what do you think we're going to see? Do you think we're going to see a lot in this next trailer? Is there a chance we'll see Ted Cord by any chance, or are they going to hold it?
I didn't think
All in
Cord
the
was in
game,
this
all
movie.
about pacing for sure. Well, his hideout is they're in his hideout at the end of the last trailer. So I was just
Well, they're in a hideout.
the Blue Beetle. It looked like the original Blue Beetle. So
Yeah, but Daniel Garrett was the original.
no, the
Hey, what's
second. Sorry, you know you little shit.
what? Pizza? I like pizza.
uh,
Yeah, Ted. I don't know if we will see Ted Cord. I would like to. Allegedly, there was something that was revealed today that there's going to be a couple cameos. We don't
yeah,
know who. So, I mean,
Creature Commandos, Joe.
could it be like honestly? My first thought was Boost to Gold.
I know it can't be Superman. That's the only thing
It
because
won't be Superman.
you're not gonna waste the Superman appearance, first one in
No.
that film there. So yeah, I'm interested. He said you're gonna know a few, so it said a couple, is what I read into that. So uh, it's only going to be a month away, Joe. And we're going to review another DC film, so I'm
Yes, sir.
excited about that.
We'll have to
So
get some
Blue
more
Beetle
books.
stuff.
Yeah, I don't have any Blue Beetle books to
Uh,
for a giveaway. I have to go look for some.
We'll figure out something there. So moving on to Doom Patrol, season 4, part 2. Michelle Gomez was a little nervous, saying that she thinks who plays Madame Rouge, getting worried that it's going to be like a write off. It's going to be canceled. And people aren't going to see it. And then Gunn took to Twitter to immediately say, I now have confirmation as I surmise. No, Doom Patrol episodes are absolutely not being shelved, even though the premiere date for the next shows hasn't been announced to the public yet, which I think this is a horrible, terrible strategy move they're doing there anyway. People aren't going to remember the first half. It's criminal to the show, even though obviously the show is ending. Still, you could give them a proper send off. At the very least, I hope they re-air the episodes. Well, they're already on
Yeah, I
Max,
was gonna
but
say like they're sitting there on
I don't
Max.
know.
You can watch them.
Promote them a couple times before you throw out the other
Do
ones.
a
That's
better
my hope.
promotion. It should have aired as soon as Teen Titans ended. It should have started then because
100%. That's
how
how
they
it went.
how they did
Pretty
the first
much.
half was perfect. You
Yeah.
had Titans, and then
And then Doom
immediately after that,
Patrol.
week after was Doom Patrol, and that
Yes.
just finished out the year. It was
That was-
great, and then you had like a month break in between, and it started to get a little worried, and then
And
you
you're
had
like, where's Doom Patrol?
yeah.
I'm starting forgetting what happened in Doom Patrol. That's like the
I mean,
giant
I'll be honest, I
butts.
kind of
Zombie
forgot what
butts.
happened the minute it was
Zombie
over.
butts. That's basically all I remember. Zombie butts.
They were getting their immortality taken away. I remember that part. But no,
let's,
like
let's,
yeah, I'm right there with her. Like where is it? It's been 6 months since it ended. Why is it taking so long to put out?
let's hope we get that soon, Joe. That's basically my hope
Well,
there.
considering we got Harley Quinn coming up, like I mean, I know it's not in the show notes, but Harley Quinn got announced that it's going to be airing at the end of the month.
Yeah.
So they're going to be running that for what 10 episodes?
10 episodes. Who? I was gonna say who's to say you can't have two things going one time, but
This
WB
is
is
WB we're talking about here.
yeah,
Like, yeah, they should have two things going on at once. They're not gonna, which means
yeah.
we probably won't see Doom Patrol until October
Yeah,
at the
September,
earliest.
October, maybe.
Like, what? Why?
Terrible, terrible. Well, there's no explanation for why, Joe. There's no explanation. Even the DC U starting, there's no explanation. You would probably try and get it out quicker, in my opinion.
On the game, loved Michelle Gomez since this great British comedy called Green Wing. My
She was
first time seeing her was on Doctor Who.
she was fantastic in Doom Patrol. I really enjoyed her, especially the return they did with this season. So I'm
Yeah.
really hoping to get some payoff for that sooner rather than later. So Joe, there is no origin story for Superman in the next film. James Gunn replied to a Blue Sky message. Oh my God, goddamn you, Twitter! You couldn't. Elon Musk had to buy Twitter because Twitter could just ran smooth. We wouldn't have got all these weird Twitter replacements that you see every couple days.
Well, if he
Uh,
wasn't a tyrannical idiot.
that's yeah, Elon Musk sucks. I think he said I think we've seen its origin story enough in film at this time, so it doesn't look like we're going to get to see that. He has said it's more of an office origin, and if you watch even Man of Tomorrow or even this Superman, you can see some of the ways that Gunn may go. Not
I'm fine
much,
with that. I'm
yeah,
fine
like
with I agree. If you want an origin, you've got the Reeves or Christopher Reeve. You've got, I mean, hell, even
Man
Brandon
of
Routh has a
Steel,
little bit of it.
even
Man
Man
of
of
Steel has a
Steel,
different origin. Like, fine. We
Doom
don't need
Path,
another one.
present day at the same time. So yeah, uh, I'm good with that. Tell the story you want to tell. The rumor of the week, Joe, because I don't know when DCU Reddit became DCEU leaks, Reddit leaks became a source, but it is people were pumping this. Uh, that there's going to be there's a Huntress film in early development, and they're looking for a the film will be Korean, and DC Studios is looking for Korean directors. Do you think they're going to stick with this, or is this going to fall to the land of the died development
Uh,
film the
I
movies that DC is known for?
I think it's gonna die. Like this.
Same.
This
I
has
think there's
no legs under it.
way too much wishful thinking before we're getting ahead of ourselves here.
That's also, I think it's just there's writer strike going on, so there's nothing that can come out. So
Mhm.
let's just let's just start throwing things out there. Maybe something will stick, and they'll be like, "Hey, we said it first."
Yeah.
No, what?
The Grace, we call that the Grace Randolph method.
Hmm.
So we have a first look at a new Suicide Squad animated, well,
So for that,
anime.
on the
Uh,
game here, would you watch a nerd fight between Musk and Zuck? Oh, you mean underwater in a sub? Sure.
I watch it. I'd watch it illegally on the game. I wouldn't pay money for it. That's the only thing I'd ever watch illegally, and try to do it on one of their platforms too. If I'm being honest with you, or both at the same time. It happened on
It's
my iPad and my
you
iPhone at the
get
same time.
they both are wearing like GoPros, and you see, so like Musk will be on Twitter. You have to watch his, like him fighting
His angle
his,
and
yeah,
yeah.
and then Zuckerberg on
Oh
Threads.
Lord,
That'd be kind of fun.
yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be. This is where the world's going now. He's not wrong. Uh,
You know what though? It wipe out the Americans' $1 trillion debt that we have. Thank you, fucking Trump.
that
Anyway,
is true. So there's going to be a Suicide Squad anime that's coming uh, in collaboration with Warner Brothers
mhm.
Japan and WIT Studios. It looks super cool. What do you think about this show as being the more anime
Suicide
of the two of
Squad
us?
Isekai.
Yeah,
So isekai it's a Japanese term for a displacement. So you're taking out of your normal world and put in a new world. Um, yeah, this looks fun. I do read a lot of isekai manga. Not a lot. I've read a fair amount. Um, but they are fun. I never there was another. Oh, what was it? It was
not Batman Ninja, is it?
yes, which I have not
Okay,
watched. I
I
haven't.
watched that. I
I haven't
watched it.
watched it.
I enjoyed that.
Okay.
Yes. So if it's in that vein, because they did look rather similar to me to that, if I'm being honest with you, because the Joker is in that as well. So,
There's there's another isekai that just came out recently. It's the Justice League Ruby
ooh,
DVD that just came out, part one. Part
oh,
two comes out, I think, next year.
Oh, that's
which
pretty
I also
cool.
have, which I haven't watched. That's
Uh,
similar vein where the Justice League gets brought into the Ruby world, and then they just go about their day.
okay. I actually thought I've seen a couple of news articles about that
Yeah,
as well. Joe, before we check in on DC's schedule for San Diego Comic Con, we'll take our final ad break of the evening. Listeners, we're an ad support network. We don't pick the ad or volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe. DC announces its 2023 Comic Con panels. This is hilarious because as I was digging up news for this, literally 2 stories back to back where DC will not have a presence at Comic Con, and then it was DC's lineup at Comic Con. So I thought that was hilarious. Obviously, they made a typo and
I
supposed to
think
say they're supposed to say DC Studios because DC Studios will not make a Hall H appearance at
right
San
there.
Diego Comic Con this year. They'll probably be there next year, is what James Gunn said.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
mean,
they made a mistake, but did think it was funny though.
I don't think anybody is going to be in Hall H like Marvel,
Mm-mm.
DC, any of the major movies are going to be like, yeah, no, we have a presence here. No, like DC Comics, Marvel Comics, they're at Comic Con. You know, you got Image, you got. I think Image actually might with Invincible will have a Hall H presence, but
Yes, you're right.
like it's it's almost like Comic Con is going back to the
The
comics.
comics, wild idea, right,
I
Joe?
know.
So I'm gonna list off for any of our San Diego Comic Con potential hopefuls the lineup. Maybe some of this is online as well, so you'll be looking out for this as of next week as well. Wednesday, July 19th, Warner Brothers will have a presence during the convention preview night in Ballroom 20. The studio will be screening all new episodes of Cartoon Network's Teen Titans Go and the first episode of Superpower, the DC story, a new Max original documentary series.
Interesting. I might watch that.
I've seen the trailer for that. I'm really interested to watch it. The Rock was all over it. That he was being made up fun of in the GWA chat for that.
Don't
Thursday,
remember
July
that. Must have been
Thursday. You could have been
might have
in
been in
one
Vegas.
or at Disney. Who knows, Joe? Yeah, you or
Might have been a while. I did a lot of trips this year.
yeah, it's awesome. Um, I'm super jealous. I'm still on this island.
Just give it
Um, DC will on Thursday. DC will start the first film day of the convention with DC's building DC universe on Webtoon at 10:30 to 11:30. This panel will discuss bringing classic superheroes to Webtoon. Next, DC will also have a Max original animation presents in Ballroom 20 from 11 to 12:30. In attendance will be the creative teams for such as Adventure Time, Young Love, and the Four Seasons of Harley Quinn.
okay.
Tom critically acclaimed comic writers Tom King and Tom Taylor will have a panel in room 60E from 11:30 to 12:30 titled Between Two Times. Oh, that's a great one. That's a great
Wow.
title. That's fantastic. They also get confused or stuff between each other. They get confused for each other all the time.
They do, which is pretty funny.
Between Two Times are kicking off San Diego Comic Con together by discussing comics and more. Celebrity guests between two times this year will include Nicola Scott and Mitch Grads. Uh, let's see what else. On Friday, it will be from 12:30 to 1:30. Dawn of DC will preview over 20 exciting new titles for DC Comics' upcoming slate.
I
Uh,
haven't yet read anything of DC of so Dawn of DC just started this year. It's
yeah.
supposed to be the new push. DC's going a new direction. Everything's gonna be great. Haven't read a single title.
Well, Joe, I think we'll skip past that one for you for right now. DC Comics' upcoming Night Terrors event will be previewed from 1:45 to 2:45 as the story architects tease what haunts the dreams of DC superheroes and supervillains. Jim Lee and Friends promises to have reveals that will have everyone talking in room 6A from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Uh, Jim Lee is on hand to bring out a few of his friends for discussions and reveals that will have everyone talking long after the con is over. You won't want to miss this. And to finish off the day, DC will be screening an upcoming animated feature film, Justice League War World, from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. There will also be a panel discussion. It says Justice League War World, be among the first fans to see this. DC's Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman find themselves in mysterious lands and precarious circumstances with no memory of how they arrived and only vague recollection of their true selves. There will also be a panel discussing this after. And then Saturday is the world of Metropolis. Superman isn't the only force to be reckoned with. Metropolis top comic book writers and artists are working on stories of the city of tomorrow. And then Sunday, we have DC Comics panels, DC books for young readers, which is always nice to see. That's essentially that's their lineup, Joe. So, what do you think? Is there anything that super jumps out to you as stuff that gets you excited?
I mean, Justice League War World.
Yeah, that is. I hope that doesn't leak online before or after. I know it's
Oh,
supposed
you
to
know
come
it
out.
will.
Yes, I know it will. You can hope, but
I don't know. I've got the Blu-ray pre-ordered. It'll be here the end of the month.
the Blu-ray, the physical release and digital release are the same time, so that's a positive because a lot of the times they used to do digital release early and it always ended up online. So
Yeah.
it's the same day is actually the way to go. On the game says, should DC or Marvel Studios permanently have their own annual thing separate from Comic Con, or do they need still be at SDCC? I think it depends on the year, to be honest with you. Depends on how
Honestly,
much you have coming out. Like if you had like Marvel 2 years ago had one movie coming out, I because of COVID and all that, obviously, I think that would be a more way to go. Whereas if you have your four, you can do D23, you can do your own thing. And same thing
yeah,
with
but
DC. Fandom was so good for that first year that you could
exactly.
do another
Fandom
one of
was
those.
amazing. That first year was amazing,
You could do
and then
another
it
event,
started falling down.
but it was the pits show. It didn't even have the schedule for the second day, so we had to sit through the whole thing.
Yeah, that kind of that kind of
That was
sucked.
not respectful of the fans' time, and
But at the same time, though, the first one they had like, oh, you can go choose which room you could go to,
yes,
and then they were like, no, no, and they just made
no,
it all one thing.
yeah, but they didn't
And
have
then
the
like a month
times for it
later,
though.
they finished like it was a 2 month, two 2 day thing, like a month apart, and
Yeah,
then the following year was shorter. Like
yes,
I remember
but
them doing it was like 8 hours long because I sat here and watched the entire
yeah,
thing. Well, started at work and then got home and started watching it, and then it repeated itself
yeah,
for a full 24 hours. I
yeah,
thought that was cool. I really enjoyed that because the stuff I missed, I was able to catch the second time around. But then, like the second day of that, a month later, was all of the stuff that like there was stuff in there that I wanted to watch. Like I think actually one of them was the premiere of the Man of Tomorrow, and I'm like, oh, cool, I'm gonna watch this,
yeah,
and I did. But that was really the only. Well, I think there was also a Neil Gaiman thing that I really found interesting. Um, but like that, there was really nothing else on there that was really like intriguing enough for me. But I didn't. I did like the option of, oh, I can go to the website. I could click on this link to follow to this room, and now I'm in this hall, kind of a thing. Like I really enjoyed that, and they just got away with it.
yeah. The second
And
one
then
was not nearly as good.
and then the second year, it was literally, well, this is what we're doing.
So I hope that if they do come back with something that's more similar to what they had that first year.
But I
Uh,
mean, but I do agree. I think they should have. I think DC should have DC Studios
I,
should have their own thing, and Marvel Studios should have
I
their own thing.
I
I
think
don't
that
think they should be at Comic Con anymore.
I think that depends on the year. I think that if you have, especially starting out with
But
DC
see,
Studios, you don't have the brand. You got all these hit failures. You just of
but
the
there's more than just
past.
movies. Look at
Oh
Harley
yeah,
Quinn. Look at, I mean,
but you can
my
own
Adventures with
Comic
Superman.
Con for a year, and then eventually, like Marvel Studios started out in Comic Con for multiple years before they had their own things with D
Well,
twenty
sure,
three and all that. So I think that
yeah,
DC
because
Studios shouldn't start out that way. I think you should slowly build to the point where you are your own self sustaining successful thing. Then you do your own. Like Marvel's at a point now where I agree with you, but before they needed the Hall bump. So that would be in my opinion anyway. Obviously, there's credence to what you're saying there as well about
Yes,
just doing your own thing.
and you are correct. And yeah, having Comic-Con as a backdrop, because you're gonna have the presence there, you're gonna have the people, that is a good spot for it.
Yes.
But they've had Comic-Con for the last decade and a half,
Yeah.
and it's been up and down for them since Superman Returns. If we're being honest, like
Yes. Well, the receptions, like the Hall H reception for BVS for that trailer was like everyone was like, "Oh my god, the
yeah,
one with the symbol on that."
same
Like,
with Suicide Squad.
yes. So like, but San Diego Comic Con has changed too. For being honest with you, honestly, I wouldn't rule out the Brazilian con being a better place to show it because people are like much more loud. I can't remember the name of that con that's driving me crazy.
Yeah,
Gun showed Suicide Squad there. Wonder
like
Woman
I say, they're not
84
as
was showed
judgmental, but
there.
they're not as
They're pumped up.
burdened to be like having to oh well, I can't like this because it's DC, or that's
Yeah.
not what they're saying, but they're automatically have a sour taste in their mouth for DC. And
Yeah, they're just
so
excited to see something cool, and
yeah,
that's
Brazilian con is, yeah.
so. Yeah, that's. I really hope that they get back to there, and hope they get to their point where they have enough content. What you said, Joe, about it not just being film is another point, yes,
They have
but I
plenty
still
of
think
TV
you have to
shows.
have some of that stuff off the ground before you have enough to do your own. Like I think it would be in year 4, 5, or 6 of the DCU.
But
Because I
that's the
just
other.
don't think you have enough stuff to only have potential stuff that you never know if you go off the rails you don't have.
All
I
right,
don't
so
know if
let's throw this out there. I know I don't want to get too long into this, but we already are.
we only have
Year
a couple
one
news
of
items later anyway.
DC Universe,
Yeah.
the DC Universe Infinite, whatever the hell it was called.
Yeah.
When they were like, "Hey, we got Doom Patrol, we've got Titans, we've got
Swamp
Swamp
Thing.
Thing, we've got Harley Quinn, we've got." I think at the time, what movies was coming out? Shazam, maybe. I don't remember. Like they had multiple stuff, and that's just for the streaming service for the DC Universe online. God, I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah, DCU.
Thank you. Like that would have been, you could have had an hour show just promoting the couple movies they had, the 3 live action shows,
Well,
the animated stuff
well,
too, and you could have
well.
you could have done maybe 2 hours, because then you could have brought out
See,
the cast.
see. This
And
is this is where it gets awkward.
okay, why is that?
They had one of those, Joe.
No,
The DC Daily. They had various people on
oh,
there,
the
including Hector
15
Navarro.
minute things that they get. No, that's
It was
yes,
very
you're right.
unsuccessful.
You're right. That thing was crap.
Oh, it was terrible. It was so bad. Now I understand
But
what
they
you're
were
saying. Like
trying.
a bit,
Like that was
yes,
something they were trying, and it didn't work.
it didn't work at that time. But what you're saying, you can do that stuff, especially if you could do it on Max even. Like you could have a Max event. You could even present it at Max. But I don't know how much of the pump. I don't know if you get more pump on a Max day or standing of Comic Con right now. I think it would still take a little bit of time. Could be wrong about
Yeah.
that. Like I said,
I just
I like to see the numbers from. Honestly, I like to see the numbers of engagement and live viewers for like the Marvel portion of D23 or something like that to really be able to properly
well, I'm sure if
100% give
we
my take
asked
because
our resident Marvel Alliance guys, they could
I don't
let
know
us
if they're giving it. I don't know if they're giving up those numbers. Not Marvel Alliance guys. I'm just talking about Disney. I don't know if they're giving up those numbers freely if you don't have to. Kind of thing.
know.
It could be wrong unless it's record breaking. If it's record breaking, they always give it up. So
I know I wish they would do something like that now, because right now they've got, Superman Lois, which just got renewed. They've got My Adventures with Superman, which is coming out. They've got Blue Beetle coming out. They got Aquaman coming out. They got Harley Quinn that's about to start. Like
oh, they need to do
5
that
shows
stuff
right
right
there.
now. We're both in agreement of
That's
that. They
5
should.
things right there that they could be like, hey, let's put out something on Max to help promote this, to get people excited for our stuff.
Remember
You got
last time they
Joker
did
coming out
that?
next year. You got Batman 2, in the works. Like, you've got these projects, and WB's not doing anything with them.
Come watch our DC films this
Why?
year. And it
Why
was
should
just
I?
remember the
Like,
teaser? Remember the teaser
I remember
with
the teaser.
on the Batman, and then none of the films came out. It was like,
Yeah.
what'd you
I know.
tease? Oh yeah,
I don't know.
If
I would love for something like this to happen. And I feel like they're in a good spot right now because they have a handful of things that you could get an hour's worth of material on YouTube, on Max, on Twitter Live. I don't care. Threads Live. I don't know if that thing's a thing yet. Like you could get it out there and people would watch. You're just not doing it.
Yeah, well, we know they're not very good at marketing right now. They're on.
Definitely
We're
not.
waiting. We're waiting for that second Blue Beetle trailer coming. The movie's coming out in a month. So, yeah, I I hope they get their crap together. That's essentially it. Joe, there is going to be a season 4 preview for Harley Quinn confirmed at SDCC. Do you think we're getting a trailer for that as well?
Yeah, probably. I mean, we're 2 weeks away.
2 weeks away, so I,
So,
I, I agree with it. Agree with you there. We got our first look while we were gone too of Sandman season 2
yeah.
via DTNNEW. What do you think about this shot of Morpheus standing up next to a white figured person?
I'm pretty sure that is uh Diffius. Now, dang it, how do you say his name? His
Odysseus?
son. I'm pretty sure it's his son.
Okay.
Um, yep, I can't remember. Orpheus. There we go. Sorry, Orpheus. Um, and if it's that story, oh boy, you are in for some crying. You're in for
I'm
some crying.
excited. I'm excited to see the second season. The first season was so good, so I
Yeah,
can't wait for us to get that.
yeah.
Uh,
We'll have to get Clay back on here. We can do a
definitely,
say a
definitely.
crossover. I don't know. I kind of took a spot, so we'll just
We're
say
just gonna have to say we're just continuing on. The
there
people
we
that
go.
review Sandman are going to continue on as we watch it. So Joe, final couple things here. Matt Reeves confirms that cinematographer Greg Fraser is returning to work on the Batman Part 2.
Awesome.
Are you excited? I love the visuals. I
Yeah,
think we're full thumbs up
the
for both
first
of us
one was
there on that
great.
one.
I am all here for it.
And finally, some positive news. On
Maybe.
high, some maybe positive news, I think, because Keanu Reeves' DC movie return gets promising update amid writer strike. So I'll be quick about this. Akiva Goldsman, sorry, said essentially, I have broken Constantine to I just haven't started typing yet. He says my pens are down, so there's nothing to do. But yeah, those are the next scenes I'm writing when I'm allowed to write again. And I already have begun I Am Legend 2 when we started striking, and
Oh yeah.
Francis Lawrence and Keanu Reeves and I have broken Constantine 2. I just haven't started typing yet. So I'm really excited about this. I would love to get this as an Elseworld story, just as
Oh, yeah.
much because it would strengthen the possibility of more Elseworld stories going forward than it is seeing Constantine. Although I'm excited to see his return, but still, Keanu's return to the role because this film was really enjoyable, and I do, and we'll eventually get to that in the
We're actually coming close to it. We're
pretty
gonna
close to
get
it.
into it
So,
pretty soon.
yeah,
Um,
I'm
yeah, no,
excited to
I'm
get
right there
into
with you. I'm excited for this movie. It's Keanu Reeves. People are gonna go see it. Although I shouldn't say that because I don't think anybody saw Matrix 4. Um,
that. They saw
they saw
the
John Wick 4.
John Wick. He's on fire right now, so let's
Yeah.
hope that he
But
comes
no,
back.
like, yes, that Constantine was one of those movies where it had an audience.
Mhm.
People liked it, enjoyed it, but for whatever reason, they just decided not to continue on. And maybe it's because Keanu Reeves just was unavailable. I doubt that's why. Uh,
They might not have even seen the franchise potential back then. Like, it wasn't like it is now where, the genre is, people when they sign you, they're like multi-movie
I mean,
deals and
so here's the thing: like, you had Batman Begins the same year,
yeah,
so
but even
you
then,
can't
like
sit there and say that they didn't see a franchise potential.
well, no, I can because there was what else franchise-wise was there for comic book movies at that time
In 2005,
Besides Batman and
um,
X-Men and
Fantastic Four
Spider-Man?
was a thing. Fantastic Four came out that year.
Yeah, so the first
Um,
one. So, yeah, a group of I'm talking about in the more serious realm that film was.
Spider Man was already franchised. X Men, like you said, Superman was about ready to get another. movie onto their franchise with Superman Returns. Um, let's see here. Sorry, I gotta go over to this. The Crow had like its third or fourth movie.
Oh, stop! We're not doing that, man. You're going to like the
Shark Boy and
Crow.
Lava Girl was there.
I gotta
Um,
ask you, was the
oh,
original
Hellboy,
Crow?
Hellboy.
Did the original Crow get like? Is he the original Crow throughout the whole first film?
Yeah, Brandon Lee.
Yeah, and no, Joe, we're not including the Crow into this discussion.
What? It was his third film. That's a franchise.
No. Yeah, I just think that they didn't think that was
Oh, Sin
canon.
City was about ready. Oh, we're missing the best one ever. The second movie of this franchise. Um, Son of the Mask. All right, I'm done.
Okay,
I'm done.
okay. We're stopping. Jim Carrey was. Oh, you want to come back and do another film? Yeah, that would be different than. But no, I am excited to see
I,
Keanu.
I see what you're saying. I understand what
Yeah,
you're saying.
I don't know why though, because he would have been going through the Matrix film. Was the Matrix films before or after this? What weren't they?
I think that might have been during.
During even okay, if
Let me
during
double
then
check
I
that.
can't understand
But
you
I feel
not
like
thinking.
Matrix One was like '99 or something.
But yeah, I again, I would love to see him come back. He has a little bit of passion for a role, and
Yeah,
there's like you said, there's a built-in fan base for this. There was one then, and they didn't continue on with it, and I'm just a sucker for that. I'm no different if you told me they're going to make a Nick Cage mini 4-episode miniseries for Max as Superman. I'd be all for that as well, showing his Superman from the Flash film.
yeah. Matrix was before Constantine. So
Okay,
all three
yeah.
of them were.
So yeah, that honestly, in my opinion, that throws away all my you couldn't see him as a franchise, or you weren't thinking of this as franchise. How could you not if
Well,
he's
he also had,
in the middle of the
if you
Matrix
go
at this?
if you go way back, he had two Bill and Ted movies. Like
Yes.
yes, probably wasn't a strong franchise leader, but then
No. Like
Matrix came out and it was like, hey, look at this guy. And then now look, we have John Wick. Like Keanu Reeves is just amazing.
thinking the same thing on the game. Kiva Goldsmith's so hit and miss. Yeah, so Joe, I think that wraps up everything. It was nice catch up from last week. Like I
Yeah.
said, we're gonna have stuff now coming out of San
Well,
Diego Comic Con.
we should have a trailer of Blue Beetle this week.
Trailer,
More than
yeah,
likely, probably tomorrow, if we're being honest. If you guys
that
are
will
listening to this,
that,
it's
that will
today. Just give it like a couple hours.
that we'll talk about potentially 6 days later because that's just how it rolls for us. Anyway, Joe, it's fun. I'm glad you're back.
Me too. I'm glad you're back too, buddy.
Yes. So the march to Blue Beetle is on, Joe.
Yeah, we are what 3 weeks away, 4 weeks away.
Is it the
I think it's 4
18th
weeks
or
away.
the 8th? Is
It's,
it the
it's the
18th?
middle of August.
Okay. So, uh, listeners, you'll have more news about that when we get to it. Until then, keep focusing on DC, and remember, like San Diego Comic Con this year is going to be focused a lot on the comics. So let's try and
You'll have
if
some
there's
show
views,
stuff, but not any movie stuff.
if there's things to view online, try and give it a little bit of bump because comics deserve a bit more flowers than it usually gets, and I'm hoping because it's going to be a main focus this year with no film studios that of the big hitters that we like that it gets its just due this year.
It's been needing it for the last couple.
Sounds like there's a lot of panels focused on that too. So yeah, Jim Lee and friends, wow me, Jim Lee and friends. Later, everyone.
Bye, y'all.